Sometimes we wait for an answer, and it feels like heaven is silent. But silence is not absence. It's God preparing the right moment. Every sunrise whispers, God has not forgotten you. Peace comes quietly when you stop searching for noise. Some mornings aren't for rushing, they're for remembering. God grows beauty quietly. Trust His pace. Still waters don't mean nothing is happening. They mean peace is working beneath the surface. Stand firm like the old tree. Storms pass, roots remain. Tears don't mean you've lost faith. They water the ground where hope will grow. God's grace is light as a feather and strong enough to lift you. While you wait, He prepares a home for your peace. The path may twist, but the light never moves. God's time is not our time, and that's our protection. Even one flame defeats the darkness. Never doubt small beginnings. Hold faith lightly, not tightly. It will find its wings. Faith grows best in open fields of surrender. Promises are often born right after the rain. Even night must surrender to morning. So will your pain. Sometimes heaven shows itself in reflections, not visions. Every ending hides a beginning, waiting in light. The waiting ends, the light returns. God was working all along. Even in the storm, God walks beside you, not to stop the rain, but to keep you from drowning. Every ripple of pain sends waves toward healing. Sometimes you walk alone, but never without His presence. Each drop of sorrow carries a seed of grace. Peace doesn't run from the storm, it flies through it. When the world grows dark, the church becomes a lighthouse. Faith burns brightest when everything else fades. Your tears are prayers that words cannot form. Faith is walking when you can't see the end of the road. Even one star can guide you through 1,000 shadows. You may bend, but you will not break. God holds your roots. Each step of struggle is a prayer that heaven hears. No storm lasts forever. Light always remembers the way back. You were made to face the sun, not the shadow. Transformation hurts, but so does staying the same. Grace comes in waves, again and again until you stand. Every promise He made still stands, even after the storm. Joy returns like spring, quietly, beautifully, faithfully. Even in the darkest night, your fire still burns. From every shadow, the cross still rises, proof that love always wins. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to trust God anyway. Grace doesn't always lift you up fast. Sometimes it teaches you to fall softly. The stronger your roots, the less you fear the wind. When you don't know where to go, trust the one who made the map. God's plans never rush, but they're always on time. They who trust in the Lord shall rise on wings like eagles. Faith doesn't grow in comfort, it grows in wind and waiting. God builds strength in silence, one layer at a time. You can't rush healing. You can't make trust bloom overnight. But every morning you wake up, God is giving you another chance to begin. Not to be perfect, but to believe again, just a little. Maybe you're scared to hope. Maybe the last time you trusted, you were hurt. But don't let pain teach you to close your heart. Let it teach you how strong it is. Because faith isn't built on comfort. It's built in the waiting, in the shaking, in the places where you learn to whisper, God, I still trust you. Every step you take in faith is seen by heaven, even when no one notices, even when you think it's too small to matter, it matters. The angels see your quiet obedience, your silent battles, your tears that no one knows about. And they whisper, keep walking. You're not alone. When you pray and nothing happens, it's not that God is ignoring you. It's that He's aligning things you can't see. He's weaving healing through invisible threads. You're learning to trust again. Not because everything makes sense, but because you've seen who He is. He was faithful before. He will be faithful again. Let go of what you can't control. Let go of the urge to understand it all. Trust is not knowing how it ends, but knowing who holds the ending. Sometimes faith looks like getting up one more time, smiling when your heart still aches, choosing light over bitterness. You will find peace again, not in people, not in explanations, but in presence. When you sit in the quiet and say, "God, I don't know what's next, but I'm here," He smiles, because that's where real faith begins. You don't have to be fearless to trust Him. You just have to be willing. Even trembling faith moves mountains. And one day, you'll look back and realize the waiting wasn't wasted. It was where your roots grew deep. The same God who walked with you through loss will walk with you through healing. The same hands that held you when you cried will hold you when you rejoice. He's not done with you. He's not distant. He's preparing something new. You're learning to trust again, and heaven is proud of you. Sometimes healing doesn't happen fast. It happens quietly. In the moments no one sees, when you're just trying to breathe through the ache and whisper, "God, I'm still here." Faith doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just the sound of your heartbeat still choosing hope. You're not behind. You're becoming. And heaven is patient with your process. When God feels silent, it doesn't mean He's gone. It means He's closer than sound, working in whispers too gentle for noise. The silence isn't punishment. It's preparation. Even in the middle, not where you were, not yet where you want to be, God is doing holy work. Every unseen prayer, every tear you thought was wasted, is watering something you can't see yet. The same hands that shaped the stars are holding you right now. You don't have to fix yourself before you come to Him. You just have to come. Grace meets you where you fall and lifts you where you thought you'd stay broken. Even here, in the confusion, in the waiting, in the parts you don't understand, God is still good. He never wastes pain. You don't have to earn peace, you just have to receive it. God doesn't love the perfect version of you. He loves the real one, the tired one, the trying one, the one that still believes even when belief feels heavy. You are not forgotten. Even when the world moves on, He remembers every prayer you whispered in the dark. You are seen, you are loved, and the story isn't over. Some miracles happen slowly, like hearts learning to trust again, like souls remembering they're safe. Don't despise the slowness. God is doing something deep, and deep things take time. Every time you choose kindness when it's hard, heaven smiles. Every time you forgive, even shaking, heaven whispers, "That's my child." Faith doesn't always look strong. Sometimes it just looks consistent. And that's enough. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep becoming, because the same God who walked with you through loss will walk with you through healing. The same hands that held you when you cried will hold you when you rejoice. He's not done with you. He's not distant. He's preparing something new. You're learning to trust again, and heaven is proud of you. And maybe you thought you'd be further by now. Maybe you thought the pain would be gone, that the waiting would be over, that your heart would finally feel light again. But God is not late. He's just building something that lasts. He's shaping roots that will hold even when the winds return. You can't see it yet, but your faith is growing in the dark, like a seed breaking open underground, where no one claps, where no one sees. But heaven whispers, "Keep going." This is what growth feels like. Every time you choose to stay soft in a hard world, you are becoming more like Him. Every time you forgive when you could have turned cold, you're showing the world what grace looks like. Don't rush your becoming. Even Jesus waited. Even He wept. Even He walked through silence before resurrection. You are not failing for feeling. You are not behind for healing slowly. You are being remade, gently, thoroughly, beautifully. Sometimes God lets the storm stay, not to break you, but to show you that you already carry peace inside. Peace that doesn't depend on calm seas, but on the one who never leaves the boat. So when you wake up heavy and you whisper, "God, I don't know how to do today," He smiles. Because faith doesn't always sound like a song. Sometimes it sounds like breathing. Sometimes it sounds like help. And that's enough. He's not disappointed in your small prayers. He delights in your honesty. He loves the version of you that keeps showing up, even unsure, even trembling, even tired. Because that's what faith is, not the absence of fear, but the courage to reach for God anyway. There will be days when joy comes easily, and others when it's a quiet choice. Both are holy, both are seen, both are worship. When you can't run, walk. When you can't walk, rest, but never believe that stillness means you're stuck. Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is to stay right where you are and trust that God is still moving, even here. You won't always feel His hand, but you will see His fingerprints in the timing, in the people He sends, in the strength you didn't know you had. The journey isn't about rushing to the ending. It's about learning to find Him in the middle. And one day, when you look back, you'll see that the waiting rooms were actually classrooms. You weren't abandoned. You were being taught how to love deeper, how to listen longer, how to stay soft in a world that wanted you numb. So breathe. You are not behind. You are still becoming. And heaven is still cheering you on. Trust doesn't return all at once. It comes back in whispers, in moments when you dare to open your heart again, even just a little. Maybe the last time you trusted, you were hurt. Maybe the last time you believed, it ended in silence. But this time is different, because now you know, God doesn't waste pain. He's not rushing you. He's rebuilding you, piece by piece, moment by moment. He's not asking for perfection, just permission. Permission to heal you, permission to love you here, even when you still flinch at the memory of before. You're learning to trust again, not because everything makes sense, but because you've seen who He is. You've watched Him show up in places you thought were unfixable. Every time you've broken down and whispered, "God, I can't," He's answered, "I know. Let me." You don't have to carry it all anymore. You were never meant to. Let go of the need to understand every reason. Let go of the guilt for not being there yet. Healing isn't a destination. It's a daily surrender. There will be days when trust feels natural and others when it feels like work. But each time you choose to try again, you are declaring to heaven, "My faith still lives." You may think your steps are small, but heaven calls them mighty. Because courage isn't measured by how loud you move, but by how long you keep showing up, even when nothing changes. God isn't waiting for your strength. He's offering His. You can lean on Him. You can rest in Him. You can trust the hands that still hold the world. He's not angry with your questions. He's not ashamed of your doubt. He knows what it feels like to be human, to weep, to wait, to wonder if the light will ever come again. And yet, the light always comes. Slowly, gently, faithfully. Because faith isn't built in certainty, it's built in the shadows. It grows when you say, "God, I don't understand, but I still choose you." And in that small, trembling choice, heaven celebrates. Because that's where miracles begin. Not in the loud moments, but in the quiet courage of your yes. So if all you have left is a whisper, let it be faith. If all you can do is lift your eyes, let it be hope. And if all you can say is, "God, I'm trying," that's enough. He's closer than you think, closer than the next breath, closer than the ache you can't name. He's in the rebuilding, He's in the waiting, He's in you. And every time your heart beats again, heaven hears it as worship. There comes a moment, quiet, almost unnoticed, when the weight begins to lift. Not all at once, but slowly, like morning light creeping through the curtains. It's not that the storm is gone, but that peace has learned how to live within it. You start to laugh again, not because everything is perfect, but because your soul remembers joy. God never promised the path would be easy, but He promised you wouldn't walk it alone. And you haven't. Every tear you cried was counted. Every prayer you thought disappeared was answered in ways you couldn't yet see. Sometimes the miracle isn't that the mountain moved. It's that you kept climbing. It's that you didn't quit. It's that your faith, though shaken, still stands. You may not have realized it, but while you were breaking, you were also becoming. Your heart, once fragile, now beats with the quiet confidence of someone who's been carried. You've seen too much grace to go back to fear. You've walked through too much fire to doubt the God who kept you from burning. And now, when you see others hurting, you'll recognize the look in their eyes, because you've been there. And you'll know what to say, not because you read it, but because you lived it. This is how God redeems pain. He turns survivors into healers and wounds into wisdom. The same valley that once made you question everything becomes the place where your compassion grows roots. You are not who you were before the storm. You are softer, stronger, deeper. Your love has stretched. Your faith has matured. Your heart has learned the rhythm of grace. And even now, He's still writing beauty into the ashes. He's still creating light out of what once felt lost. Because that's who He is, the God who never lets the darkness win. So let the light in. Let it fill the spaces you thought were beyond repair. Let it warm the corners of your soul where sorrow used to live. You made it here, not by accident, but by grace. And grace is still carrying you forward. Now rest. You don't have to keep fighting to prove you're healed. You don't have to keep searching for what's already within you. You are held, you are loved, you are seen. Sometimes peace doesn't arrive like a shout. It comes as a gentle whisper in the middle of an ordinary moment when you finally exhale and realize He never left. All this time, through the waiting and the wondering, He was here. He was teaching you to breathe again, to believe again, to see the sacred in the simple. And now you know. You don't need to have all the answers to have peace. You don't need to understand the plan to trust the one who made it. Faith isn't about knowing how the story ends. It's about knowing who writes it, and the author of your story is good. So even when you can't see the road ahead, keep walking. Even when you don't feel strong, keep showing up. Even when all you can say is, "God, I'm here," that's enough. Heaven isn't looking for perfect people, it's looking for willing hearts, and yours has always been willing. So let your heart rest. Let grace fill the spaces where striving used to live. Let love do what it does best, heal. Because you've come so far. You've grown in ways you can't yet see, and heaven is still cheering for you. The same God who carried you through the night will walk with you into the dawn. The same hands that caught your tears will lift your face to the light. This isn't the end. It's a beginning, quiet, sacred, full of new mercy. So breathe deep. Look up. You're still becoming. And you're not alone. He's here. He's always been here. And he's smiling because you made it home. You don't always need to move to make progress. Sometimes God does his best work in the stillness. In the pause between what was and what will be, he's teaching you to rest, not because you've earned it, but because he loves you enough to slow you down. Be still. Let your heart stop trying to fix everything. Let your hands unclench. You are not responsible for holding the world together. That's his job. The same hands that shaped the stars are holding your tomorrow. So breathe. Let peace come find you where you are. You don't have to prove your faith by doing more. Sometimes the bravest faith is found in those who wait, who stay, who trust that God is still working, even when all is quiet. Every pause has purpose. Every delay has direction. Every silence holds something sacred. Don't be afraid of stillness. That's where God's whisper gets loud. And maybe what he's saying isn't, "Do more," but just be mine. Be still, child. Be loved. Be known. Be carried. Because even when your plans stop moving, heaven hasn't stopped. Grace is still unfolding, just slower than your eyes can see. You are in the safest place you could ever be, in his hands. There will be people who walk away. There will be seasons that fade. There will be moments when it feels like everything you built is slipping through your fingers. But God doesn't leave. When everyone else turns away, he leans closer. When the world moves on, he stays behind to sit with you in the ashes. He is the God who stays. The one who doesn't rush your grief. The one who doesn't shame your tears. The one who waits beside you until you're ready to rise again. And when you do, he rises with you. Because his love isn't fragile. It doesn't depend on your strength, your joy, or your success. It's steady. It's constant. It's home. He's not afraid of your doubts. He's not surprised by your weakness. He's not disappointed in your process. He knew you would need time, and he made time for you. So stop running from the one who never left. Stop trying to earn what's already yours. You are loved, fully, freely, forever. Even in your lowest moment, you were never out of reach. Even when you turned away, he never stopped reaching out. That's who he is. The shepherd who leaves the 99, the father who waits at the gate, the friend who stays when the crowd leaves. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize it was never your grip that held on to him. It was his hand holding you the whole way through. So don't fear tomorrow. Don't rush today. The one who began your story has already written redemption into every chapter. And he will stay until you're whole again. Until you're home again. Until your heart remembers that you were never really lost. Every ending is a doorway in disguise. What feels like loss today may one day be the very thing that led you into light. You thought it was over, but God was only turning the page. There's a reason you're still here. There's breath in your lungs, purpose in your pain, and a future that grace is already writing. New beginnings rarely announce themselves. They arrive quietly, in mornings that look ordinary, in small moments that remind you, life is still beautiful. You'll start to notice it again. The way sunlight touches your skin, the laughter that feels easier, the hope that doesn't hurt as much. That's healing. Not loud, not dramatic, but gentle, like spring after a long winter. God never wastes seasons. Even what broke you became a seed. And now, in the soil of surrender, something sacred is growing. You're not who you were before the storm. And that's the point. The old you survived. The new you will thrive. So walk forward softly. Carry what you've learned, but travel light. You don't need to drag the past into a future that's already free. Grace has made room for you there. And heaven is waiting. Not at the finish line, but in every step you take. If you listen closely, you can hear it. The sound of grace. It doesn't shout. It sings in the spaces between heartbeats, in the laughter after tears, in the quiet peace that follows surrender. Grace has a rhythm, and it's never in a hurry. It moves at the pace of love, slow, patient, steady. It meets you where you fall and lifts you with a gentleness that doesn't demand perfection. You can stop trying to deserve it. You can stop apologizing for your humanity. Grace already knows who you are and chooses you anyway. Every scar now tells a story of mercy. Every wound that once bled shame now glows with the proof of redemption. That's what grace does. It doesn't erase your past, it transforms it. It turns what once was pain into a melody of peace. So when you doubt your worth, listen again. There it is, that quiet sound that says, "You're still loved. You always were." And that sound, that's grace. And now, after all the storms, after all the waiting, after every quiet prayer you thought went unheard, you're still here. Not because you never broke, but because God held every broken piece. Not because you never doubted, but because love never gave up on you. Look how far you've come. Look how your faith, once trembling, now stands. Maybe not loud, but steady. This is not the end. It's a continuation, a sacred unfolding. The same God who met you in the valley will walk with you on the mountain. The same voice that called you through darkness will keep calling you into light. So rest now. You've walked through enough nights to see the dawn. You've carried enough burdens. Let grace carry you home. Close your eyes. Breathe deep. Whisper, "Thank you." And in that whisper, heaven smiles. Because you made it. And you were never alone.